Dear participants of the Collegium, we know that behind the Kyiv regime is the potential of the member countries of the world's largest military political bloc, NATO. Large-scale military assistance is continuously flowing. Advisors, instructors, mercenaries are being sent. Intelligence data is being transmitted. In such difficult conditions, our troops demonstrate high combat capability and training. The capabilities of the Russian army are constantly developing. Work on strengthening the armed forces has been ongoing continuously. In recent years, continuously. I mean improving their combat composition, qualitative improvements in the military command system, in operational and combat training, and of course, increasing the efficiency of the defense industry, which has quickly restructured many production and technological processes, producing in-demand products in ever-increasing volumes. Thanks to the clear work of the defense industrial complex, the Army and Navy are being equipped in a timely manner with modern weapons and equipment. Ground forces are receiving missile complexes and artillery systems with high-precision strike weapons, loitering munitions, drones of various types, and robotics. The aerospace forces are receiving upgraded missiles and aviation bombs with a guided planning and correction module capable of operating effectively in a complex jamming environment. Many here know how much the efficiency of work has increased recently. Over 80% is now achieved. I want to thank those who are engaged in this. This is real help. Real. This year, the naval fleet was replenished with new submarines, including the strategic missile carrier Prince Pazharsky, as well as 19 surface ships and vessels. Successful tests were conducted of the unlimited-range strategic cruise missile Burevestnik and the unmanned underwater vehicle Poseidon. Through the use of nuclear power plants, these complexes will remain unique and one-of-a-kind for a long time to come, ensuring strategic parity, security, and Russia's global positions for decades to come. We will continue to work on these complexes. We will continue to refine them, improve them, enhance them, but they already exist. By the end of the year, the medium-range missile complex with the hypersonic missile Oreshnik will also be put on combat duty. Last November, its combat use was conducted for the first time. The high level of training of units and formations, their ability to solve the most complex tasks, is confirmed during regularly conducted exercises, including with the participation of our foreign allies and partners, to whom we transfer experience gained during the special military operation. Thus, I note the good results that were shown at the Joint Strategic Exercise West 2025. All tasks for the protection and security of the Union state from potential external aggression were successfully worked out. Today, we see that the geopolitical situation in the world continues to remain tense, and in a number of regions, it is becoming simply critical. NATO countries are actively building up and modernizing offensive forces, creating and deploying new types of weapons, including in outer space. At the same time, in Europe, people are having fears drummed into their heads about an inevitable clash with Russia, that supposedly one must prepare for a big war. Various figures who seemingly held or still hold responsible positions have apparently simply forgotten about their responsibility. They are guided by some fleeting, personal or group political interests, and not at all by the interests of their peoples. And they are increasingly raising the level of hysteria. I have already said repeatedly, this is a lie. Nonsense, simply nonsense about some imaginary Russian threat to European countries. But this is being done quite deliberately. The truth is that Russia has always, in the most difficult circumstances, as they say, to the very end, while there is even the slightest chance, strived to find diplomatic solutions to contradictions and conflicts. And the responsibility for the fact that these chances were not used lies entirely with those who believed that they could speak to us in the language of force. Even today, we advocate for building mutually beneficial and equal cooperation with the United States and with European states, for forming a unified security system throughout the entire Eurasian region. We welcome the progress that has emerged in dialogue with the new American administration. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said about the current leadership of most European countries. At the same time, we realize that in any international situation, the key guarantor of Russia's sovereignty and independence, its security, and future strategic parity remains our armed forces. And as I have already said, we need to work systematically on strengthening them. What do I want to particularly emphasize here? What tasks should be set in the sphere of military construction, including taking into account the dynamics of the situation on the line of combat contact? First, the goals of the special military operation will unconditionally be achieved. We would prefer to do this and eliminate the root causes of the conflict with the help of diplomacy. If, however, the opposing country and their foreign patrons refuse to talk substantively, Russia will achieve the liberation of its historical lands by military means. The task of creating and expanding a buffer security zone will also be consistently solved. Second, work on modernizing the armed forces must continue at a high pace and with quality, primarily within the framework of the new state armament program for 2027-2036, work on which is currently being conducted. At the same time, as I have repeatedly said, the experience of the special military operation, new trends in combat tactics, and rapidly developing military technologies must be maximally taken into account. Among the key directions of the state program are air defense and missile defense systems, radio-electronic warfare control systems, unmanned complexes in all environments, and, of course, a priority for us is the improvement of strategic nuclear forces. As before, they will play the main role in deterring an aggressor and maintaining the balance of power in the world. Today in Russia is the day of the strategic missile forces. Taking this opportunity, I want to congratulate the veterans, personnel, and civilian staff of the strategic missile forces on their professional holiday. I wish you success and all the best. Third, the Russian army must continue to remain at the forefront of technological progress. This means that troops need to accelerate the introduction of robotics, information technologies, new materials, expand the use of artificial intelligence technologies in control systems in autonomous combat complexes. Fourth, it is important to equip the orbital grouping with new generation spacecraft. As a result, the troops should receive high-speed and protected communication channels. The quality of their provision, with intelligence information and accurate navigation data, will increase. Further, in May of this year, the strategy for the development of the naval fleet until 2050 was approved, which defined its future prospects. Clear and timely implementation of the provisions of the strategy will allow the Navy to be renewed and increase the effectiveness of its performance of combat tasks in all theaters of military operations. And finally, we should continue to actively develop military and military technical cooperation with foreign countries, with our allies and partners, improve the collective security system and the Union state. Overall, work in this direction is a significant factor in strengthening regional and international security. Dear comrades, one of the state's priorities is expanding social guarantees for participants in the special military operation and members of their families, for all our servicemen. In the outgoing year, the Ministry of Defense, together with the state fund Defenders of the Fatherland, has done much to improve the quality of medical care, assistance to wounded warriors, to resolve issues of their rehabilitation and employment, to ensure timely payments and implement other, including additional measures of social support for families, children, and parents of fallen servicemen. I draw your attention to the fact that there is still work to be done here. Now, in the course of preparing for the direct line, it is clear that many questions are coming in on these topics, but with the leadership of the Ministry of Defense, we will, of course, return to this. I especially note the heroic work of military doctors, medical workers who sometimes do the impossible to save our fighters and return them to service after treatment. Unique, simply unique experience has been gained in providing medical and psychological assistance to servicemen with wounds, injuries, and diseases related to combat operations. Such experience should be implemented not only in the activities of military medical institutions, but also in civilian healthcare, enshrining this at the legislative level. Of course, work must continue on indexing the monetary allowance for servicemen, and the pace of providing them with permanent and service housing must not be reduced. Every defender of the motherland must know firmly that the state will provide him and his loved ones with all necessary social support. And in conclusion, I want to once again thank the soldiers and officers who are now on the front lines, all participants in the special military operation for their heroism and selflessness. I wish the leadership, all personnel and civilian staff of the Ministry of Defense new achievements in service to the motherland and our people. I am confident that you will continue to reliably stand guard over the sovereignty and security of Russia. Thank you for your attention. Thank you.